What's up, guys? I hope y'all are having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite things, and that is games journalist, games journaling. And what better way to demonstrate that than some good old-fashioned racial grifting?
And so the answer is not to remake, but to rewrite. But all of this doesn't account for Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
Oh shit, here we go again.
And I don't think anybody is surprised when I say who this is coming from, because of course they put the IGN in ignorance, and that of course is everyone's favorite source for all things gaming news, reviews, and discussion. Oh wait, that's fucking Yong, yeah.
Unlike the great value offered by the sponsor of today's video, Soylent, a company focused on enhancing your nutrition through delicious and conveniently packaged drinks. One of my goals for 2023 is to hit the gym frequently, bulk up and get fit, as well as enhance my diet and health in general, and for that purpose, Soylent has fit perfectly into my life. I tried every single one of these, and not only did I think that they were all delicious, I also loved how creamy and smooth the drink's texture was. I actually looked forward to drinking Soylent every day.
But yeah, in all seriousness, guys, we're going to be taking a look at this absolutely wonderful take from none other than IGN about the potential remake of Resident Evil 5 and why they believe that literally in today's current gaming landscape, a game like this cannot just be remade. It needs to be completely rewritten for a modern gaming audience.
For a modern gaming audience.
Now, you may be asking yourself, why does it need to be rewritten? They've remade a bunch of other Resident Evil games thus far, and they've all seemed to do pretty well. Like, what's the deal here? What's different about Resident Evil 5? Well, there's one very important factor here at play that only a company like IGN or other games journalists would be able to find, and that, of course, is racism, dude.
Don't shoot. Shoot him. He's black. Shoot him. Racism.
And of course, in typical IGN fashion, this take is absolutely retarded, completely contradicts pretty much everything they've said about this game in the past, and I think we're going to have some fun with this one, guys. So the video we are going to be taking a look at here today is titled The Resident Evil Game That Can't Be Remade. Now, this video is sitting at well over 20,000 dislikes to 2,000 likes at this point. In all honesty, the 2,000 likes is kind of alarming if you ask me, considering how shit this video is, but let's just say the reception to it has been anything but positive. So I think we're in for a real treat here today, guys. So, you know, sit back, relax, grab a drink, grab some popcorn, buckle in those brain cells, and let's go ahead and check this shit out.
With Resident Evil 4's release last year, Capcom's project to remake the glory years of its survival horror series is complete. But as the game's post-credit scene suggests, the remakes aren't over. And so the big question is, where next? The obvious answer is a remake of Resident Evil 5. But on the game's 15th anniversary, it's clear that moving forward chronologically will take Capcom's remakes into the series' weakest era, an era of gameplay and narrative decisions best left in the past. Resident Evil 5 simply can't be remade. At least not to the standards of Capcom's best work. And so the answer is not to remake, but to rewrite.
Oh shit, here we go again.
I wonder what aspects of the narrative and gameplay that, you know, IGN might have a problem with in this particular situation, dude. You know, I really do wonder what it could be that possibly might have IGN claiming that this game simply cannot be remade. It needs to be completely rewritten from the ground up. I mean, come on, guys. Like, I'm pretty much sure at this point that this can't be just some race-baiting garbage to air out the narrator's white guilt and score some political brownie points, because come on, dude, this is IGN, guys, like the pinnacle of games journalism. Like, when people think of games journalism, the first company that comes to mind is IGN, because they're just that good. They have such a great reputation, and they would never stoop to this level of resorting to race baiting in order to get some hate views on a YouTube video by trashing a 15-year-old video game that they themselves gave a 9 out of 10 in their original review. I mean, come on, bro, we should expect better. So, you know what? I think we should hear him out, guys. You know, let's hear what is so problematic about Resident Evil 5 and why it should not be remade and should be rewritten instead.
And so you could argue that Resident Evil 5 is actually the Resident Evil most in need of a remake. A whole new environmental structure and scenario design that reins in the action and dials up the horror would bring it in line with Capcom's other remakes. But all of this doesn't account for Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
It looks black.
It is black.
God!
Both of them.
Shit! Shit! It's black! Oh my God! Don't shoot. Shoot him. He's black. Shoot him. Racism.
But all of this doesn't account for Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
Yeah, call me crazy, but if you're playing a game like Resident Evil 5, a game where you literally kill zombies for the entirety of the game, and your conclusion upon playing this game is that the biggest issue it has is racism, then motherfucker, you are the racist in this situation. But I love how they structured this video, because I skipped ahead about 3 minutes. They try to like pad out the first 2 to 3 minutes of this video, talking about how Resident Evil 5 doesn't really fit the current brand of the Resident Evil franchise because it's more of an action game than a survival horror game, and it's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the franchise if they were to make this a remake, because it would stand out so dramatically from the other Resident Evil remakes that they've made thus far. You know, all in an effort to mask the true intentions of this YouTube video, and that is to once again grift off of this bullshit controversy that somehow Resident Evil 5 is a racist game because they made Native Africans black in it. I really don't even fucking know where to begin, man. Like, this was so stupid 15 years ago, and yes, that is how long people have been trying to make this claim to no avail. No one fucking cares, and IGN is desperately trying to reignite this stupid fucking racist bullshit in order to racially grift off of the gaming community once again and score some woke brownie points and, you know, put to rest their white guilt just a little bit by calling out true injustices in the world, like killing black zombies in a Resident Evil game set in Africa, God forbid. But, you know, let's just go ahead and keep listening to this video, because, you know, I'm sure we're going to hear some absolutely fantastic points throughout this thing.
Set in a fictional West African country, Resident Evil 5's primary antagonists are black people.
Yeah, if you've even played Resident Evil 5 once, you know this is a complete fucking lie. The main antagonist of Resident Evil 5, just like most other Resident Evil games, is Albert Wesker. Oh my god, dude, what a surprise. But wait a second, guys, wait, what the fuck is that? I guess this dude didn't vote for Joe Biden because...
You ain't black.
Yes, it's technically the Ouroboros virus that protagonist Chris Redfield is fighting.
And who caused the virus? I think that's an important detail you're leaving out too, that the main antagonist and literal final boss of this game is a fucking white guy. But come on now, I should know better. That doesn't fit the narrative, so we're gonna leave that shit out. I mean, this game, if you think about it, is kind of woke in all the right ways, because it's about a wealthy white guy who goes to Africa, purposely infecting the population with a contagious virus that was developed for the sake of eugenics. Who does that sound like? I don't know, man. I can't quite put my finger on it.
All right, I'm not in a good mood now. I start thinking about Bill Gates up there with that little chicken neck, hopping her now, little murdering eugenicist. You know how he walked like a demonic elf. Hey, Bill Gates. I'm gonna shoot you up with something that's gonna kill you down in the hammer. How's a 30-year death from gut disease sound, African children? Roll up the sleeves. I'm a little chicken neck bastard, and nobody's got the will to see what I am.
But the Parasite's host is depicted as a nation of mobs and primitives who are violent even before their infection. Intentionally or not, Resident Evil 5 positioned Africa as the Dark Continent.
You know what, man? I think I have to agree with IGN here, because, you know, if this game was set in a Wakanda-esque setting, I think it would have really reflected the true nature of the African continent as a peaceful utopia that is technologically advanced, has zero strife or conflict, and literally is leading the world by example when it comes to just overall a standard of living. I mean, why else would tens of millions of refugees be fleeing from the continent if it wasn't such a wonderful place to be, man? In all honesty, bro, I think IGN is spot on here, and it would have been nice to actually see Africa represented by its true nature. But I do think it's funny that they literally acknowledge in this video that this is a made-up fictional country that, you know, doesn't fucking exist, but somehow Capcom are the racists in this situation, because because, you know, they made up a fictional African country with a fictional identity, and somehow IGN is taking that fictional country and projecting its identity onto the entire continent and every single country it contains. But, you know, Capcom are the racist in this situation. I mean, it just literally rings so true that the people who are able to spot racism in literally anything and everything are usually the most racist motherfuckers at heart.
An uncivilized world harboring a diseased population that needs gunning down via Western intervention in the name of global security.
Yeah, I would say killing zombies is a pretty valid cause in the case of global security, if you ask me. But I love how he's glossing over the fact that the main cause of this entire outbreak and the main villain is literally a white Westerner to begin with. But again, that doesn't fit the narrative, so we have to exclude that so we can paint this game as if the only reason it was created was to have an excuse to kill black people as a white guy. You know, never mind the fact that your literal co-op partner throughout the game is literally a black woman, but, you know, again, we can't include that fact.
This insensitive treatment of people of colour was hotly debated even as early as Resident Evil 5's debut trailer, with writers such as Ngai Kroll and Stephen Totillo pointing out the game's uncomfortable post-colonial imagery.
Yeah, if Stephen Totillo is the example you have to look to validate this entire thing, that's not really a great sign. The dude worked at Kotaku forever and is literally one of the biggest political grifters masquerading as a video games journalist in the entire industry. The dude is a complete political hack and should never be taken seriously. He's the prime example of someone who really wanted to work in political journalism but had to resort to video games journalism because no one takes him fucking seriously, and for good reason.
The arguments and think pieces continued well into the game's release window, with IGN's own former editor-in-chief Hillary Goldstein having also wrestled with the subject.
Now, this is a very interesting subject because Hillary didn't really have a problem with this game when IGN originally reviewed it, because Hillary was one of the original reviewers for Resident Evil 5 and gave the game a 9 out of 10 score. In fact, if you go to the actual IGN review for Resident Evil 5, it says, "There's been a fair amount of media discussion around the question of whether Resident Evil 5 has racist overtones due to its African setting and the fact that the main character, at least on the first playthrough, is a white man shooting black people in their native land. You know, let's ignore the fact they're fucking zombies. I personally didn't find Resident Evil 5 to have an overtly racist feel, but I did find one aspect of it a bit disturbing. It was a bit strange to realize I was wandering around Africa, stealing the region's gold, precious gems, and expensive native treasures, which I cashed in to pay for weapon upgrades. Add in the fact that I ended up killing the parasitically infected villagers and townspeople of the area with said weapons, and the discomfort comes full circle." So even this fucking person originally was saying that it didn't really have an overtly racist feel to it, but in 2012, all of a sudden, I guess when they needed some more attention on their website, they decided to revive the topic 3 years later and grift to the political audience. Big fucking shock, but if you actually listen to the review, it seems like Hillary really had no qualms about going in there and, well, you know what, I'll just let you listen to their words, not mine.
Resident Evil 5 is built around cooperative play, so we thought it'd be a good idea to do a co-op video review.
Yeah, I'm sort of Sheva to Ryan's Chris Redfield. You know, there was never a moment in Resident Evil 5 where I kind of said to myself, I just wish this was over. It's from start to finish, I just wanted to play more and more, and honestly, the minute that I finished it, I said to myself, man, I can't wait to go run through back again, you know, with my shotgun with unlimited ammo or my Magnum with unlimited ammo, and just blow the crap out of stuff.
You're so cheap.
Oh boy, dude, can't you just hear that white guilt completely overpowering them? Like, oh, they must have felt so guilty playing through the game. I mean, the genuine concern and overall discomfort is just completely audible in their expression.
Man, I can't wait to go run through back again, you know, with my shotgun with unlimited ammo or my Magnum with unlimited ammo, and just blow the crap out of stuff.
I'm just gonna say it, since you're talking shit about me with your big fucking ugly mouth. You're all hateful, fucking racist bigots. Fuck you and fuck your fucking podcast.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, man, that white guilt, dude, it really got to him, you could tell. I mean, they really had such hesitation in their voice about mowing down those poor natives and villagers after spending their gold and native treasures to buy guns in an effort to mow down the infected native people of Africa. You know, you could truly tell that their heart was torn by that awful decision they had to make while playing it. But overall, this just shows you how disingenuous these motherfuckers are. It's all about getting clicks, it's all about getting attention, and it's all about scoring woke brownie points and furthering the message, dude. These motherfuckers don't have a single genuine belief whatsoever.
But that was 2009, a time when race was apparently a debate rather than a reality.
Ah yes, man, 2009, back when race was nothing more than a simple debate topic and wasn't a reality of life for the past 4,000 to 5,000 years of human history. You know, if only we could go back to those simpler times where race just wasn't a reality, man. I mean, if it isn't clear to you at this point now, guys, like, this video is a complete fucking joke. Just thought I would clear that up in case anybody was confused.
But that was 2009, a time when race was apparently a debate rather than a reality. In the 2020s, in a post-Black Lives Matter world, there is only one acceptable response to a white man shooting waves of Africans for an entire video game. No.
I mean, this guy is literally acting like the whole reason people are buying this shit is just to kill black people. Like, he's acting like, you know, the average consumer of Resident Evil 5 is like, yeah, you know, the game's not that great compared to the other 4 games in the franchise, and well, it was kind of a letdown, but
at least I got rid of all those damn nits.
Again, call me fucking crazy if you want to, but I feel like if you are playing Resident Evil 5 and coming to this conclusion, you are the one that is racist in this situation.
There's one thing I do. I have a job to do, and I'm gonna see it through.
Remakes may be able to redefine their source material, but there's only so many changes you can make until it's not a remake at all, but an entirely new game. And if you take Africa out of Resident Evil 5, is it Resident Evil 5 anymore? Even with a vastly improved, more sensitive take on the continent, perhaps one with a black protagonist and a more empathetic look at the outbreak.
Wow, dude, he is really on to something here, man. A black protagonist in Resident Evil 5? It's almost like there already is one of those. You know, your literal co-op partner that is with you for the entirety of the campaign, but you get what's going on here, guys, right? Like, he's literally suggesting that we remove Chris Redfield from the game entirely because it's perfectly fine for a black woman to massacre native Africans, but God forbid a white guy does it. But again, guys, IGN aren't the racist ones in this situation.
And a more empathetic look at the outbreak, the experience would simply be too divorced from the original to hold the name Resident Evil 5. So where does Capcom go now?
I can tell you exactly where they should go from here. They should just remake the game and not listen to fucking dumbasses like you.
Personally, I'd look backwards. Code Veronica is an ideal candidate, as is the original Resident Evil. But if the only way is chronologically forward, then a total rewrite of what comes next is the logical path. Because what followed Resident Evil 4 was not one terrible game, but 2.
So this guy's not even a fan of Resident Evil 5, and he's trying to dictate what the remake should be. Like, this should not even be taken seriously whatsoever, because the Resident Evil remakes are literally made for fans of the franchise. This shit is not designed for people who don't even fucking like the source material. So Capcom, please, for the love of God, don't listen to these political grifting retards who don't even fucking like your games in the first place. I actually really enjoyed Resident Evil 5. It was the only Resident Evil game I've ever actually beaten up until recently as a kid, and overall, I would love to have a faithful remake of that game because overall, it was a fucking awesome action title. And unlike this guy, I actually enjoyed it the first time around.
Resident Evil 6 tripled down on the action-packed, set-piece heavy shooter design, to the extent that much of it could be mistaken for a third-person Call of Duty spin-off were it not for the monsters.
Alright, this may be a hot take, but I actually really enjoyed Resident Evil 6. I know that's like blasphemy among the Resident Evil purists, but I thought 6 was really fun.
Its restrictive level design practically puts you in a chokehold, forcing you to endure a barrage of bombastic moments that have no interest in evoking any sense of fear. Resident Resident Evil 6 is a survival horror, only in that it's a horrible game that you have to survive playing.
Kinda like watching this video, huh?
Capcom has given itself the freedom to do whatever it wants. I just hope it's not a remake of Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, this dude's not even a fan of the game, and he's gonna sit here and try to dictate what Capcom should or shouldn't do in remaking a game for, you know, the actual fans of the original. So, you love to see it, man. This is the typical slop you expect to see from IGN, so it's not really too surprising, especially in today's current gaming landscape, especially when it comes to the media. They look for any and every excuse to interject political discussion into the gaming discourse, and this is no different in that regard. So, you know, I'm glad to see that they have been getting a lot of backlash on this topic, and basically everyone, and I mean everyone, has been shitting on them for this take. So that's actually really, really great to see, and overall, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as humanly possible. If you did, make sure to drop a like on it, and let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section below. And I do want to wrap this video up with a piece of advice that I did leave in the comment section on IGN's video that I think would solve all the problems with this game and make everyone happy, and also allow IGN to atone for their white guilt. And that is the simple recommendation of replacing all the Africans in Resident Evil 5 with IGN employees instead. You know, I think that is a very suitable alternative personally, but, you know, let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. But as always, guys, I do want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to check out this video, and for all the recent support as well on the channel. It does mean a lot, and I really do appreciate it. So with that shit said, I will catch you guys next time.
My heart